For those who are not familiar with EMDR, like, what is it and why does it work?
Okay, why does it work? We don't know yet, but that's nothing to be worried about. We yet don't know how antidepressant drugs work exactly. In fact,
Right.
serotonin theory is now quite under fire, depending. But in any case, it's not unfrequent that something works and we
Mhm.
don't know yet exactly 100% how does it work. All right, so
Right.
we don't know exactly how it works, but we do know what it does, and it's not the only therapy that
Right.
deals with trauma right now. Because what we started realizing as we started understanding trauma better is how pervasive trauma is in human life,
Mm.
and how trauma is connected to a lot of different conditions that we didn't think were connected to trauma before. So, at the same time, all these different therapies have developed sensory motor, CBT therapies focused on trauma, and
Mhm.
they most of all of them have in common, I would say, a certain degree of re experiencing with the therapist what happened then, recalling what
Mm.
happened, and allowing yourself to feel what happened then, and then some techniques that help regulate, down regulate that activation. So, in
Right.
a way, the brain learns that it's no more in that danger zone. Okay,
Mm.
without beyond words, because words are not going to do the work for you. So,
Right.
we have all these other ways of doing it. And yeah, I've worked with sensory motor a lot. I've worked with CBT focused trauma therapy, and I
Mhm.
work with EMDR. And I do feel EMDR is the most effective and the most protocolized. So it has common things with these other interventions, but probably it
Mhm.
adds something extra that has to do plus with the bilateral stimulation. And again, we don't know exactly why bilateral stimulation helps. We have few different hypotheses, but it helps. What
Mhm.
we do
This is
know,
the eye movement. Of those who are not, they're not familiar with it. The bilateral simulation is someone keeping their head straight, and the
and moving
therapist
the
is,
eyes, or
yeah,
you
moving the
can do
eyes left
sometimes
to
with
right,
sounds,
or sounds.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and there's
basically
something. Yeah.
stimulating your brain, simulating alternatively each of the hemispheres of the brain, giving a stimuli to the left and to the right, to the left, to the right, while the person is connecting with the memory,
Yeah.
again in a fast and simple way. And this somehow has this effect of helping clients process. We call that, that's what we the term we use,
Hmm.
process these memories in a way that they stop having this traumatic effect. I mean, after the intervention, they stop having the capacity of deregulating, and they start becoming memories, actually. Okay.
Right.
I remember that or not good will probably never be good, and many times probably be an awful memory, but an awful memory that doesn't deregulate me anymore, that doesn't
Right.
condition my behavior. Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't have a charge, and sometimes people worry like, "Oh, I don't want to lose that memory. I don't want to forget about it."
That's
So
not
you're
what
not
it
going to forget it with this work. It's removing the charge, so it's not activating in the moment.
And
So
some
it's
people are
not.
also afraid of becoming
Yeah.
indifferent to the memory. How can I be
Right.
indifferent to my father beating my mother or whatever? No, no,
Right.
I always say it's never going to be a good memory. Don't worry. It's always going to be a bad
Right.
or really awful memory, because I guess it's awful to remember your father. But one thing
Yeah.
is awful, and one thing is that it, again deregulates you here and now
Right.
till a point that you actually are not, you're not deciding what to do. So, okay, this is a bad memory, and
Yeah.
think about it, it's not happy at all, but it doesn't, it no longer, connects me emotionally at that level that makes me act.
Yeah.
And
You
definitely
know,
lose the memory, nothing of that sort.
I find often people get surprised of
Yeah.
how the charge goes down. They really get surprised, and even and, many people are like, I don't like, is this gonna really work? Like, I don't know. Let's see. And then people get really surprised often of like, oh, I don't understand why, but that, like, when even I bring up that memory from the past, I don't feel heat in my body, or my heart doesn't start racing. I don't start feeling angry. Like, it's just a memory. It's just something in the past. You know?
What's always been surprising for me, and it happened to you, being plus coming from a CBT background,
Yeah.
is how once the activation goes down, the brain starts producing these new cognitions that are,
Mm.
extremely adaptive, fantastic, logical, adult, and they sort of just come up in the client's mind. And I always used to think initially, I said, God, if I try to, convince this person of what he's now saying with this, with this conviction of this, how long would I have taken with
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, 6 years to try and convince the person to say this. And it's
Yeah.
fantastic how once this emotion starts going down, how the brain, yeah, starts functioning, and really puts that memory in its place,
Yeah.
and thinks about it in such a clear manner, such a logical manner. It's surprising,
Mm.
yet surprising.
And believing these new, more helpful thoughts,
Exactly.
like whether I am lovable, or I'm worthy, I deserve good things, or whatever beliefs,
And
like
actually believing, you can see
actually
it.
believing it, because
It's not something
yeah,
they're forcing themselves to think. It's
right.
actually coming down up, right?
That's really important, because otherwise it becomes something people layer, and they're like, they don't really believe, like, oh, I'm worthy, or I'm lovable, or I can succeed. Don't really believe it, but they keep repeating it to themselves. They don't really
Yeah, but
believe it.
that's exhausting.
But this,
And sooner or
yeah,
later,
yeah,
they
yeah,
get tired of doing that. It's like, I don't know, going to the gym. You have to keep on going. Otherwise, you
yeah,
lose
yeah,
muscle. And something like that. They have to keep on doing it. And with these other techniques, thankfully. Yeah, before discovering EMDR and all these other, I thought that was the maximum we could do. I literally, thought that's the
Mm,
maximum we could do. Help people cope with situations, and but actually not change anything deep inside. So for me, it was a
right.
classic surprise to see that, no, that we could do a lot more than that.
Yeah. And it's time for a little pop quiz interruption. I'd like you please to guess, what is the percentage of people who are watching the content on this channel who have not subscribed? Are you ready? 97.5% have not subscribed. What? This blew my mind. That means only 2.5% of you have subscribed. Please help me change that. This makes a drastic impact on my capacity to continue sharing this educational content at no cost to you. All you have to do is press that subscribe button. If you have, thank you so much. Please continue sharing it with anyone you think can benefit from this. Thank you so much. It really is surprising. I mean, this is one of the things for me why I train in EMDR, because I experienced it, and as a client, and I was like, "Ooh, this actually," and I often like to try something before believing it. So I'm like, "Oh no, this actually has helped," and it was a traumatic event that happened, and wow, like even right now, I bring it up in my mind. It's just like, yeah, it just happened, but it's quite amazing how
Fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So if someone is listening to this, and maybe thinking, wait, I might need to do some work, reach out to wherever you are locally, wherever you're listening to this. If there's jurisdiction issues around licensing, so you need to work with someone in your region, but you can look up in your region, someone who's trained, um, something to consider, because change is possible, and these things can heal.
Yeah. Deep.
And it doesn't mean years and years. Sometimes people think, is this like psychoanalysis? I'm going to do 20 years of work before EMDR or work. No. But yeah.
Yeah. This is very important. What you're saying. We don't have this, complete revision of everything that happened in your childhood and it meant to you. And this is okay. Whoever wants to do
Yeah.
this, it's fantastic. It's probably a different objective you're looking for. No, no, we start from what's actually problematic. That's what we're looking for
Right.
post-traumatic effects. That's
Right.
where, and we hook onto that effect, and that's what we try and connect with your past, and
Yeah.
that's the part of the past we're interested in, not the rest.
Yes, yes. And there's a current thing that's happening that you
Yeah,
named earlier. It's a current target. Something's bugging me now, and then we find where it is related. Suganest, who I trained with EMDR, she uses the metaphor I still use with clients. It's like we're opening a filing cabinet. We're taking one file that's bothering you right now. It's not like we're opening all drawers in a filing cabinet and we're throwing everything on the floor. That's flooding. Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
taking one file, we're processing it, putting it right back in the filing cabinet, and closing it. Yeah.
That's a very good metaphor. I totally agree with it. Yeah. I
Yeah.
also tell my clients many times, they may have told you EMDR works with the past, but it actually works with the present. Well, we're
Yeah.
interested in the part of your past that's yet having effects in your present. That's what we're interested in. So in the end, are working actually with your present, and we're working with this memory from your past because it's yet active in your present.
Yes, it's alive now. That's why.
Exactly. Otherwise,
Right.
we would not dedicate our time to this. It's alive now. It's having effects now, and it's affecting you in your life today. That's why we work.
Yeah. Yeah. Hello there, and thank you so much for stopping by this channel. I hope you find this content useful, and if you do, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It will really help me to reach to more people and keep this content going. Here we are journeying together, and let's see where this takes us.